Hello, good evening. I did a live this morning. That is really bright. I did a live this morning and I had some very good and constructive feedback about Q Sciences and my presenting of it. And I just wanted to pop on here and hopefully explain some things in a way that makes sense in layman's terms. So my name is Brenna May, and I am a mother and a wife, and I'm married to an Australian expat. We have 3 little squirrel monkey children who just, I would say, run circles around me. I used to run circles around them, but I'm getting old. But they're a lot of fun. And I started addressing some of my health issues a few years back, and I was probably undiagnosed Hashimoto's and autoimmune for, I'm guessing, 10 years or more. Like, I can trace my symptoms back about that far. And some of the symptoms back to childhood. But I had a real health scare last year, ended up in the hospital. Actually, it's 2 years ago now. Ended up in the hospital and a year and a half ago. and have been kind of on a huge learning curve ever since. But I was sharing this morning about our Q-Core supplements for Q Sciences because we have a bit of an experience going on where people have asked for some samples and they're trying them for 5 days and just to see how they like them. And so I've had some amusing questions that some of which I've written down that I wanted to address here to share. So I was explaining nanotechnology because that is the form in which our supplements are processed. We break the supplements down to a small enough size that basically it can cross the blood-brain barrier, and that's why the supplements feel so good. That's why they feel so effective. So I was asked if there is crack or caffeine in our Q-Core, and no, but if there was crack, you would not be fined more than $100 in the state of Oregon. I can tell you that. So no, the reason why the supplements are so effective basically is because the molecules are very, very small, and then they are fully methylated. They are individually chelated and bound to an amino acid. So what that means is that anybody can absorb these nutrients. I have double MTHFR, which sounds terrible, but it kind of is. And it basically means I cannot methylate or detoxify my body very well. I hoard toxins until it's like you kind of have, everybody has a bucket of toxins. And you can kind of go along and think everything's fine. And then like these PFAS chemicals in your bottled water and the chlorine and toxic ingredients in your tap water and the toxins that you put on your skin in personal products and the plastics in fast food in wrappers that you consume that puts plastics in your body. There's just like, I can go on for an hour about all the different chemicals that we are exposed to that create a toxic burden in our bodies. And if you have MTHFR or other methylation and detoxification gene mutations, like I do, I have 10 other ones, you basically just are a walking bucket of toxins and your body starts to shut down. Your body gets depleted. If you can't methylate and draw the nutrition from your food that you need, then your body is, in essence, kind of starts to starve. And that's where you have autoimmune issues cropping up. If your body is full of toxins and you're picking up carcinogens in your skin products or the world around you, your home products like bleach and Lysol. Lysol is one of the most toxic things you can possibly breathe and put anywhere near your body. It just fills up. Every little tiny thing fills up, and then you're basically like exposing your cells in a way that they start to mutate, and that's where cancer comes from. And anyway, all that stuff. So with our QMax, which is our multivitamin mineral complex, and it has had $25 million in clinical case studies from third parties. It is essentially a supplement that anybody can take. People who will have issues with like ADHD, ADD, anxiety, depression. These are all things that have been covered in their clinical case studies, traumatic brain injury. Basically, a lot of those things crop up because, one, your gut isn't absorbing what it needs for whatever reason, and your blood, you're not getting into your bloodstream the proper nutrients. And so when the particles are teeny, teeny, tiny, tiny, and then bound to amino acid, it means they absorb. Simply put, they just absorb. So whereas you might not get your nutrition out of your food that we would have gotten like 100 years ago, like, and now we know that the nutrition in an apple, now we would have to eat 8 apples to compare to an apple 100 years ago, because we don't have the minerals and vitamins in our soils to feed our food, to fill our food. And so if you ever wonder why you can like eat and eat and eat and not feel satisfied, it's because your body's not getting what it needs. So in this day and age, supplementation is important. And so I had a few people take our Q-Core, and you can watch my previous video that I went through that whole process. But I've had a few people take the Q-Core and go, what the heck is in this stuff? There's nothing scary. It's just purely that your body is actually absorbing it. That's all. So I had another question of, why do I feel so good, and is it actually sustainable? And the answer is yes, if you keep using it. Over time, those little, not the toxin buckets, but the other little buckets that need to be filled, like you'll start to reach kind of homeostasis. The longer you stay on the products, the effect becomes cumulative. So your body's just simply getting what it needs, and things can start to balance out, okay? So we have hemp products. We use a full spectrum water-soluble hemp, which might sound like gobbledygook to people. I, for my inflammation and autoimmune issues, have probably tried 30 to 50 different brands of hemp. The first one I ever tried was excellent. It was a little Oregon company. It was a water-soluble product, which means that almost everyone can absorb it. Because a lot of people can't absorb CBD isolate. A lot of people can't even absorb broad spectrum, which means that it has everything in the plant except for the THC, which is the psychoactive part. Ours is hemp-based, so it is not psychoactive, but it has all of the terpenes, CBD, CBG, CBN, all of the anti-inflammatory properties in the plant, but not enough THC to be psychoactive or even test positive on a drug test. And it's temperature stable, so it doesn't activate even if you bake with it. So that's I had my husband go, is this gonna make me high? Is this gonna make me high? I'm like, no, it's not. Here's the science. It's not gonna make you high. Like Kristen Bell with her new body cream. It's not gonna make you high. So that's really all. I just wanted to touch on those questions. And if anyone has more questions, please send me a message, comment, and I will try to answer them as they come. And I think that's all for now.